yeah, I think I'm on the run. These shoes ain't coming off. Don't even try to catch me, cause I'm done falling in love. I never really sleep much. I guess the dream is the only way for me just to keep up. Top down in the winter, leather on the seats though. Push 120 on the dash and in my jean hose. Tell me what you wouldn't do for a quick dollar. Tell me what you wouldn't do if money was no problem. Hey baby, maybe I could find a way. In fact, hey baby, maybe I could do a thing like that. I think you love it when I break down. It makes you feel, it make me feel like my life is going way up, way up. That my life is going, the way my life is going. I think I'm the baddest. Ooh,
what's up?
It's good. No credit.
Doing the podcast a little later tonight.
Later in the day, but
Earlier in the week. Wow.
Does that blow your mind?
Wow.
I must be mentally gay because I just blew your mind.
Wow. Podcast 28. Right?
Sounds right.
Sounds right to me. Yeah. I don't have a lot of topics this week.
Oh.
This is the first time that I've come in
I
with,
gave you a
with
chance.
not a lot of topics.
I was sitting here. I was going to say, I'm going to just let Moti just
ride it.
Take the reins. Pause. Take the reins here and intro this pod. Do a real hosting job like, he was supposed to when we started this thing. And that was the first thing out of your mouth. Wow.
Yeah, well, I carried the last 4 weeks, so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the only thing I keep seeing come across my screen on any hip hop shit or whatever is all this Nicki Minaj bullshit, and I have zero interest in that.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in the Nicki Minaj stuff. I guess the biggest thing I keep hearing about is that, what is it, Barbie? What's the song?
I don't know.
I gotta look it up so I don't mess this up. It's like Barbie thing. Is it Barbie Tings or Barbie Things? I never know anymore. Barbie Dreams. Sorry, Barbie Dreams, where she like drops every rapper's name or whatever. So you got half the people being like, yeah, she disses everybody, she calls out everybody, or like, but I just listened to it right before the pod. Off one listen, I just feel like she literally just made a song so she could mention everyone's name. Like it's at least off one listen, there wasn't anything in there where I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I don't have any interest in Nicki Minaj's music, really. Like, I don't know.
Or her opinion on anything.
Yeah, well, maybe if somebody else I fucked with did that I would care, but I don't think I would because she didn't say anything dope to me.
Yeah, I just don't care.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think we have a big listener base that really fucks with Nicki, so I don't think anyone's going to be too offended that we're not going to go into detail.
If you're offended, leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
So that I can block you from my channel.
I guess the only thing that, because Apollo brought it up before we went in here, was that she put Fifi on the album, even though that was Tekashi's song.
Savage.
That was 6ix9ine's song, and it's on the end of her album just to boost numbers, which I know that's what everyone does these days.
Not like that, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like put a big song on to boost their numbers, which I'm fine with because everybody's got to play the game. But to put a song that you were featured on and put it on as your own song is kind of weird. But I'm sure she talked to 6ix9ine about it and he's cool with it. So I guess if that's what it is, that's what it is. But I don't know.
What if she didn't talk to 6ix9ine about it?
Well, they're going on tour together, I think. So.
But what if?
I don't know. She's about to catch the fade.
How savage would that be?
She's about to catch the fade then. But yeah, I mean, that's the newest, hottest shit in hip hop right now, I guess, is Nicki Minaj's album that I just haven't heard and have really, probably will never hear. I don't really have any interest in her music. So.
Nope, I can't say that I'll probably ever listen to it.
All right, well, on to the next thing then. Russ's new album is got a date now and a title. You see that?
Saw that.
Artwork.
Saw the artwork.
Zoo is the name of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see he just posted like an explanation for the title?
Saw it.
Yeah, so I guess I could just read it. It's not super long. So he says, "My new life is a zoo. It feels like constant contained chaos, whether internal battles, family issues, industry bullshit, etc. And dealing with everything while everyone is watching is beyond stressful. I'd like to think I have a good poker face when it comes to what I put out to the world because I know people are looking to me for strength and guidance, and I don't want to let them down, so I try to keep it together for everyone. My fans, my family, my friends, I know everyone is depending on me, and I can't be the weak one. It's a mess in here, though. A beautifully miserable mess at times. People on the outside throwing shit at you. People on the inside trying to kill you. All the while, you got to keep it together. Otherwise, you look crazy. All the while, trying to keep in mind that this is what I signed up for. Even if I didn't realize it, and trying to stay grateful through the constant chaos that is the zoo. This album feels like me not caring about keeping it together anymore. Music is my only hope to not go completely insane. Thank you to everyone. Russ. Dope. I think like cool concept, cool idea, makes sense for what he always puts out there. I think I listen to Russ's music and interviews, and so I feel like I have an awareness of who he is as an artist, and that makes perfect sense to me. For all those like Russ haters out there, I think this is a good way to intro the album because it's actually a very vulnerable explanation. It isn't the brash, confident Russ like I'm just the greatest and my life is fucking awesome. Right. So I think I think it's perfect for a second album.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. It was funny because I saw like his fans tweeting at him to write an explanation on what the album cover meant, and just by looking at the album cover, I was like, "Do you need an explanation?"
Yeah, I guess that's true. Just for art's sake, I knew what he meant by zoo.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in general,
none of that was a surprise.
Like,
to
yeah,
me.
Maybe there's a couple things specific. There's some specifics in there that I might not know.
Okay, how he's feeling.
Right, I know,
like
but
that.
yeah,
it's
no,
like,
I agree with you. There's certain things that maybe should be left to art,
Yeah.
but that's also the age we live in, and the more content you can put out to hype something is always
with all
good,
of his
so.
newfound fame. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, I wasn't surprised at any of that.
But I'm excited for that. I thought his first album was dope. I'm a fan of his, so I will be listening to that, and we'll come in with a review on that. I think it's September 7th.
Yeah.
So we'll be in Minneapolis September 7th. That's the bad thing about we might have to change the date of our podcast again somewhere down the line, because that's the only bad thing about recording on Thursday night is all the new music comes out the next day or like at midnight just after we record, and by the time we get to talk about it, it's already a week old.
True.
But we will do it.
Yeah, I'll be listening. For sure.
We'll probably just listen to it on the way home from Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, probably.
Let's see here. What do we got? Oh, okay. So something I've kind of wondered. I've been a fan of this guy from probably like early college, like I would say 2009, 10. I've been a fan of this guy, and I've always wondered over the last 8 years or so why because he's big, but I always wondered why he didn't like quite get to the superstar, super big level. And I'm talking about Jeremiah, not Jeremiah, Jeremiah. And just recently he was on tour with Tiana Taylor, and apparently Tiana Taylor like quit the tour basically. Just basically saying he's a big diva. She just couldn't take it anymore. She was gonna have to knock him out. Like she said, he's a quote lazy, sneaky, jealous, conniving, selfish, lame ass. Word I can't say. Don't ever try to play me, Petunia, she says. So that was something that caught my attention because it wasn't that long ago that Jeremiah was removed from the Party Next Door tour. They were on tour together. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, and he was removed from it. I know they were having issues, and I believe it got to a certain show, and Jeremiah literally... Well, there were rumors floating around that Jeremiah was sending a stunt double out on stage. I don't know if those ever came out as true, or I just assumed it wasn't because I think that would have been a big deal. But then he eventually went out on stage at one point in the tour and basically like dissed Party Next Door. And then after that, Live Nation put out a statement that was like very, corporate and was just like, it's just in the best interest to remove Jeremiah from the tour, like effective immediately. And so that combined with the fact that he's super talented and has great connection and is on big songs with big people. And it's not to say he's not a big artist. He's a big artist, but he doesn't seem to have I think he's a big artist as far as he's on big songs. So he probably makes good money doing his music, but I don't know, if you compared, let's say Jeremiah gets X amount of plays on his music, right? Mm-hmm. And if you put him on a tour with someone that got the same amount of plays on their music, like Spotify numbers or something like that, I would just kind of always assume that the other artist has more fans, is a bigger artist. You never hear anyone be like, Jeremiah's in my top 5 or Jeremiah's my favorite artist. You hear that with a Party Next Door or something who might not have even the similar numbers or something like that. But you just feel like he has a tighter core fan base where Jeremiah has no core fan base, it feels like.
Well, maybe he's just a shitty person.
That's the type of shit that makes me wonder. All we ever hear with some of these artists sometimes is their music.
Right.
And we make these assumptions and, the best artists get the biggest, and if you're not the dope and making the right music moves, blah, blah, but it could go even above and beyond that. If people just aren't fucking with you on, dude, 2 tours, I don't know if it's in a row. I'm sure he's been on the road before, but 2 pretty big tours. You got issues like this?
Here's the thing. I do feel like a lot of artists take this for granted because, you're an artist and you always think, okay, the good music will prevail. If I'm a dope enough artist, I will do big things. Mm-hmm. It's not the way the world works, especially in the big music industry, because it's a business first and foremost. So you got a lot of people surrounding you doing different things for you. If you piss off those people, they don't want to do anything for you. Yeah. I don't care how good your music is.
Yeah, and I mean, he's built enough connections and has enough going for him where he has what he needs at this point. But as far as ever getting to that next level of superstardom, it just seems like maybe. And I'm just obviously guessing here, but when you hear a bunch of stories like that, it seems like that could have something to do with it.
I mean, but just putting it into everyday life,
right.
You try to do anything bigger than what's just you.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be somewhat, sympathetic to everybody around you instead of it just being about you.
And when you see Tiana Taylor just literally couldn't take it anymore and got off the tour,
right?
Disappointing her fans, doing all that because she just couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
I might, if not for the Party Next Door tour story that was already out there with Jeremiah, I might be like, dang, Tiana Taylor's stupid for that. Come on, how bad could it be? Finish the tour. Don't be like that. But the Party Next Door shit makes me be like, damn, Jeremiah probably is a big fuck.
Well, and just everything on top of it too. It's just kind of dude, he probably is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot went on in music because we recorded the pod last Thursday. It's Wednesday night now, and there was a bunch of music that came out last week, and so there's not a ton of new music to talk about, with the biggest thing being Nicki, and we're just not really interested in that. Last week I told one of the listeners called in and wanted to talk about Mac Miller, and I still haven't listened to it, so I apologize for that, and I will, because I like Mac. So I will listen to that project, and we'll rank his albums or something like that, because I actually just thought about it the other day, and I was looking at his discography, and I was like, he definitely, it'll be tough to order those albums, so we'll do that. So off of music, you got something?
I did, because just today, Joe Budden released, his teaser topics today, and I was watching one that had to do with the topic that we wasted most of our time on yesterday. Was the
wasted most of our time on yesterday?
Last week.
Oh, well, first of all, we don't waste any time on this pod. We just spend time.
True. We spent most of our time on, and that was the absurd percentage that musicians are getting out of the industry money.
Yeah.
And he made a good point. I mean, it's not a good point. It's kind of everybody kind of knows it in the back of their head is, if if artists like universally took a stand against all of this bullshit that is the absurd percentages that not only streaming platforms but labels and anything that has to do with music is giving these actual musicians. If they took a stand like anybody else takes a stand, like, you know, they abuse teachers' time and they go on strike, or they abuse the mail service, they go on strike, they don't do anything. That way that business can't survive until those people get back to work. He was like, what would happen if all the artists just pretty much said, enough, we're not doing anything until this shit gets taken care of? Like, would it be better, or would it just cause shittier musicians to be like, give me the shitty deal and have me do it because I want fame that bad?
I think it would just be one of those situations where you'd need the absolute biggest artists to do it, because it is a little different than other professions. Like, you have to be qualified to be a teacher. Even in sports, when they have lockouts, you're talking about people get used to watching the best basketball players in the world. You get like LeBron,
right?
Like,
but
Steph.
they're
I know
they're all getting fucked. So
I know, but they can hold out, but only for so long and for so much, because, or they can hold out, but it's because, yeah, would there be a ton of people willing to take their place? Yeah, like everyone wants to be in the NBA,
right?
But nobody's LeBron,
right? True.
Nobody's Steph,
True.
And there's a lot of guys like that, and the quality of the league and what you see is going to go way down. Now, I could make the same argument as someone that respects and values music. I could make the same argument musically. If you lose Drake, if you lose J. Cole, if you lose Kendrick,
yeah, if you lose all of the
then
superstars,
whoever's taking their place is not the same, and music takes a hit. But you have to lose those guys. Like when the NBA does it, they all band together and they do it, every single one of them. If there's a lockout, nobody plays.
But that's what he's talking about, though, and that's what I'm saying is, like, could it make a difference as far as, like, or do these big artists just not care enough that they just see all the big money coming in from tours?
Well, part of the issue is the top 1% or 0.5% of artists probably don't have the shittiest deals. I would guess Drake has an okay deal.
Well, and this is what Joe Budden was saying, though. Drake is a little bit different, though, because since he's gotten, is he officially off of Young Money, or
he says on Scorpion that was the last album, and
that was the last album. See, and here's the thing, because he's probably in a much better situation now because he's technically signed to his own label, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess I don't know exactly.
I'm not sure exactly, but if that's the situation, then yeah, of course he's not really going to care because he's seeing most of the money anyway. He is the label. So, but I'm saying for most artists, this includes Kendrick, this includes Lady Gaga, this includes anybody, is, yeah, you are seeing a lot of money. But what Joe Budden was saying is, how much more money would you see?
Yeah.
If you actually, like...
Yeah, and it's tough because it is similar to athletics where you only have so long to play a sport.
Right.
And same with music. You only have so long. Like, if all of a sudden you take a year to fight this thing, then does your popularity just go down? Who knows?
Right. But he was saying it's like, you know, all these artists are just fine because they see, you know, they make a lot of money touring and doing shows and appearances and things like that, which, and sponsorships and stuff. So all of that money together is like, oh, I'm doing really well. Like, why do I care about distribution? Why do I care about publishing when I have more than enough money to take care of my family and probably their family? Why do I care?
Yeah.
Well, but he's saying is 12%.
Yeah, this shit is, it's being looked at by artists as
sometimes even less.
I'm making good money, so I'm good. Why press my luck? Which I get. I can't say if I was in their situation, I would do anything either. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to make it so I'm not good. But what you're saying is, there is so much money being brought in off these people's music, off everybody's music, that yeah, you might get some good money off of it, but you should be getting so much more based off what you're contributing to it. And I get that, but that's what you're saying and what you said Joe Budden was saying, whatever. But I was listening to that, and you know what Park said?
12% is a good cut for.
Yeah, he said the
most.
highest profit margin that people are seeing in jobs is like lawyers and doctors are seeing like 19%. But he said, you know, restaurant, retail, people are seeing like 7%.
Yeah.
And so 12% isn't some crazy profit margin.
Here's the thing though, and like that's a good point, but I don't think it's the best point, just because from a conservative perspective, you could say I'm good with 12% because it is a good profit margin or whatever. We're talking about music though. Like, this is a widely consumed, needed product.
Yeah, I mean,
and it sells itself.
You know what I would like to find out? What athletes' profit margin is based off of what their league bring in.
To me,
and I don't know what it would be, but I think athletics are somewhat similar to the music industry in those ways. In the fact that the shelf life is only X amount of years.
Yeah.
In the fact that the business generates a ton of money. It's entertainment.
Right. But
it has stars.
Yeah,
like
but
you don't have stars in like
I would have to take that
litigation.
a step further though, because there's only one side to the NBA. Like, the NBA makes money because they play basketball games.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell tickets and they sell merch and they sell everything because of the fact that these NBA players are playing basketball games, right?
Yeah.
So there's because there's two aspects to music. Musicians make money because they make songs and people listen to them, and they make money long into the future because they can keep going and doing these shows.
Right, that's true. There's royalties and all that stuff. And not only just shows, but like people are still downloading and listening to Michael Jackson's music.
Right.
And
it's even what Joe Budden was saying too, is I would love to just sit on my ass making money years in the future for my distribution deals.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing is like, yeah, it's obviously not on these big record label levels or whatever, but if an independent artist who doesn't have these middlemen, whatever, and is just putting out their music through TuneCore or DistroKid or whatever, and owns all their masters, like, you can retire, and yeah, if you got big enough, you will have people downloading your stuff for the next 10 years, for the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it'll decline, it'll go down because you're not out marketing and doing whatever, but you're seeing some checks off of that. Mm-hmm. These artists now, not even after they retire, but these artists now in their deals are not seeing any of their distribution because they're getting decent money on tour.
Yep.
And so they just take their tour money and that's what it is. But then they don't realize how much money their music generates in the long game.
You're right. That's exactly what it is. And for how much like that stuff is generating, that is insane. Mm. Like, think about how much money like all of these old time musicians are making because their songs keep getting played on the radio and stuff like that. They're not even alive.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough because, I mean, I don't want to rehash what we talked about last week, but you get these young artists who aren't really shit when they sign their deals sometimes. So their last concern is
what happens when I'm 40.
Well, not only what happens when I'm 40, but people downloading my music when I'm 40. Like, that's not even a thought at that point, which is kind of fair. If you try to think of it from a label's perspective of, oh, well, you won't have your royalties when you are 40. But if you didn't sign with us, you wouldn't have shit ever. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's a tough that's why I said like last week, it depends on an artist's situation. If you have built good buzz on your own independently, if you really have something independently, then you better hold on to that tightly. Well, but if you are just a flash in the pan, then yeah, you take the money that the label gives you and you take what they'll give you because they're literally making you.
But I guess that just all boils back down to why I wanted to bring up the topic is literally just because you imagine a world of a thriving business. Like, okay, for example, you have Apple, who hires software programmers and engineers and things of that nature to make their products what they are. And they get paid lots of fucking money. Yeah. They don't get paid royalties, but they get paid lots of fucking money to make Apple what it is. There is a reason why Apple can afford to pay their employees that amount of money. Because they are getting it from like music. They're getting it from selling their expensive ass products. They're getting it from all sorts of things. So, but it is only fair for those software engineers who designed this computer to get their fair share of the royalties from that computer. The musicians aren't getting that.
No, I know, and that's what's crazy is this day and age, like everything evolves. So
like you could almost picture like if I'm Lady Gaga and I'm selling shit tons of fucking
you love it.
Well, she's just a super fucking popular pop star. So, and I'm selling shit tons of records on iTunes and Apple Music. I could technically say that I funded the research and the development to make this expensive ass laptop that Apple is just selling.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd say that.
Why? I don't see how you can't say that.
I'm just saying the percentage of what went into that is like, because you could try to say that, but if I was with Apple, my response would be like, okay, bye, take your music down from Apple. We don't need you because you don't actually fund this.
But that's the point.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It would take everyone to band together, because that's what I was going to get into is it's crazy how things evolve. You try to like, it's like the, whatchamacallit, the whack-a-mole. Like you finally get the game, like you finally catch on to what's going on, and then the next thing pops up. And that's what's going on with like streaming and all those things, is because now, like, look at how quickly we went from like CDs to like iPods to now everyone's fucking phone is just everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just assume, okay, I have a phone and now I can listen to anything I want. So yeah, now phones and music literally just go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And Spotify benefits, Apple benefits,
well,
those things, but the artists are not benefiting monetarily.
But and that's a great point, because I guess that's where I wanted to take my last point was you have this culture in Apple that, you know, they make these great products. I'm sure they're paying whoever they need to pay to design these products well, that they're being compensated like very fairly. And they're creating a culture that everybody wants to be a part of as far as that goes. But there's another side to all of this shit that people just kind of forget about, because it's not really like a thought in their head as far as what they're also trampling on the other hand of their whole business plan to fund all of this stuff is we have to compensate our software engineers because it directly affects the products that we make. But when there's only Apple Music and Spotify, we don't have to give a shit about the musicians, because the thing is, our software engineers can go to another computer company and make them just as good. So we have to make sure they stay with Apple, and we'll pay them to do that. Where the fuck are the musicians going to go?
Nowhere. It's like we talked about last week. You have to put your music on these platforms.
And that's the problem, though, is it's like... and
that's why Jay-Z has tried to start Tidal and things like that, is because the more artist control you have, the better. But unfortunately, it takes everybody. It's like if 3 people out of 100 go on strike, the business doesn't give a damn.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is that...
that's the Tidal example is... there were a few artists, like there are now, but there was even a point where more artists were, okay, I'm just going to do Tidal. You can only get my shit on Tidal. And it was like an experiment, but not enough artists did it.
Yeah.
It probably would have worked if more artists did it. But they didn't.
Where do you think the hang up?
Now there's artists that...
Is that a label thing?
Is what a label thing?
What's blocking that from happening? Because it can't be the artists. It can't be the artist.
Blocking what? I don't know what you're saying.
Like, why wouldn't all the artists just be like, I'm going to Tidal? Why wouldn't that happen? I'm not talking independent artists because we all know Spotify is more popular, so that's why we stay there.
I would guess, yeah, independent artists can't. And then I would guess, like we talked about last week, labels have deals with Spotify and Apple.
That's why I was asking.
And it's all politics and backdoor stuff.
So the artists, it would literally need to be a revolution that would be like, I'm finally
it's gonna happen at some point, and it's gonna be years and years and years and years down the road, because more artists are gonna become independent or partners and not slaves to labels.
Mm-hmm.
And those artists
have their eyes open.
And those artists are gonna move away from this shit and start their own shit and do that. And labels are gonna be stuck with their viral stars.
Right.
And that's it. Who are under slave contracts.
Right.
And that's going to be what it is. And finally, you might have enough dope artists to make that push then. Dope free artists.
Right.
But it's going to be so far down the road, because these...
You don't think it would be possible for an artist under a major label to be like, no, fuck this, and make it like known?
It depends what your deal is. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to go to your label and say, take all my stuff off Apple Music and Spotify?
No, because you can't do that. What you would do, though, is that's why I call it a revolution, because you would have to literally be like, I don't care what the label's doing, I'm making it publicly known that I do not approve. And you would have to have a lot of people that did it. It doesn't necessarily
what
mean...
does that do, though? Like, if I'm signed to a label and they put all my music on Spotify and Apple, because I'm not the one putting my music out, they are, but I say I don't approve of this, but it's always up there, who cares?
Well, first of all, you would stop making music, because the label can't force you to make music.
Yeah.
And it would degrade the streaming platforms and the label's reputation.
I'm with you. It just all goes back to what I said at the beginning. It's going to take a lot of the biggest artists.
No, I get it. I was just trying to hash out what would actually need to happen in order for that to...
It would have
because the bottom line is... It would have
to be a strike. Music's version of a strike.
Right.
The biggest artists, and it'd have to be like 80% of all the biggest artists, or at least over 50%, or around 50%.
I think it would be more like 80. Yeah, I think it would have to be huge.
Yeah, there's certain names that you'd have to have and things like that.
Because everybody would need to be vocal about it too, and they'd all need to be on the same page.
Do I ever see that happening? No. Artists. I think it's very easy to be an artist and be so attached to the fame and that side of things that to just quote unquote go on strike would seem, because it's just, I don't know. I don't see it happening. I would love to see it happen, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people have the ability to see in the long term like that. Like, because honestly, you would have to literally be confident enough in the long term that you would have to say, I'm changing tons of generations of musicians and my family wealth,
right,
to be able to be like...
That's why it only, like... Because
if you only care about yourself, it's dumb.
But that's what I mean. How can you not care about yourself if you're out here?
No, but that's the whole conundrum with everything.
Like, people are out here trying to make a living and make a buck, and to just be like, well, I want to make this better for other artists out there, even though this is worse for me in the short term.
Well, that's how every change starts, though. Is
I know.
That's
it's just a very tough thing to ask.
You have those few popular individuals that finally say, I'm done.
Yeah.
And they don't care. They just want to help everybody else that's in the same situation and future generations of that. But that's the thing. That's what's so frustrating about the whole situation is it literally, I don't see it like what you were saying is it maybe way down the line you would have like tons of popular like label free artists that finally took that stand or whatever, like independent artists. I don't ever see that happening. Not with the monopoly that the labels have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how the fuck would that even happen? They get these artists like way too young, and they have no idea like how wealth builds and how all of that.
The labels know what they're doing.
That's why I don't think it'll ever happen.
I'm on the same page. You're preaching to the choir.
It's just really fucked up. Like that when you think about it in that far in depth.
You're talking about a fantasy land.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of depressing to think about.
Yeah. Well, that's why everybody that's why it's cool these days with.
Is there any other industry like that?
That's why you can't completely shit on Spotify and things like that, though, because we still, as artists, have with YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all just the internet in general, you have every opportunity to do stuff yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't feel too bad for
and I'm not. I don't really think that the streaming platforms are the root of the problem. I think it's the major labels.
Yeah. Whatever. We've beat this topic to death the last two weeks now, but I don't really have any more music stuff other than I saw Lupe Fiasco doing things with a samurai sword on an Instagram video, and I hadn't heard that name in a while. And he used to be one of my favorite rappers.
You haven't seen those videos?
No.
He's been doing that for a long time.
He's a weird dude. Shout out Lupe, though, one of the best rappers. I like my favorite rappers coming out.
I like reading the comments under him because everyone calls him out for not knowing what the fuck he's
doing. He looked like he knew what he was doing in the one I saw.
I know, but everyone just makes fun of him like he... I don't know. Because I remember like one of the first videos he posted of all that shit when he first got into it, and everyone's like, Lupe, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Put that sword away before you hurt somebody.
Damn, glad he stuck with it.
That's what he did to get away from the industry.
Yeah. What else do we got other than music? Oh, another funny thing I saw a random, I think it was like Complex or something, a tweet. Quote, I wouldn't consider myself a mumble rapper because I don't know what that is. But when I talk, I mumble. End quote. Get familiar with the Seattle newcomer, Lil Mosey.
What?
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And then I thought of Dags.
Dags would be a mumble rapper.
Or would he not be a mumble rapper, but when he talks, he mumbles? Like this guy.
Isn't that what a mumble rapper would be?
I don't know. The quote is, I wouldn't consider myself a mumble rapper because I don't know what that is. But when I talk, I mumble.
So you are a mumble rapper.
I don't know. Or is he just a rapper that mumbles?
No, because no. Rapping is just talking in rhythm. That's what it is.
Oh, you're a terrible rapper then.
Unless you're singing. That's different.
In other news, Jalen Ramsey, the star Jacksonville Jaguars corner, was talking shit in his GQ interview, basically saying he doesn't know who any of the quarterbacks in the league are. Just saying shit like, who's the Atlanta quarterback?
I think I read
who's the whatever quarterback? And he had some comments about our boy Matthew Stafford. He did say, I think he's straight. I don't think he's the best quarterback out there, but he do what he got to do. Now, coming from him, based off what I heard him saying about other quarterbacks, that's not bad.
No.
But then Golden Tate said, I think he was being questioned by the media after that, and Golden Tate said, he has his opinion. I don't know when's the last time they played us. 2 years ago? What happened? And the reporter goes, Lions won. Ramsey was crying on the bench. And he literally was. And Tate goes, oh. I thought that was good.
That is good.
Jalen Ramsey, great player. Seems like a huge tool. I think he was a rookie, and it was early in the season, and I saw some interview with him where, like, his facial expressions and the way he talked, I don't know if I've ever wanted to just punch someone in the face more. I gotta see if I can find that on YouTube.
Huh.
You won't be able to see his face, but you'll be able to hear the sassy tone. Here we go.
You just not want to hear it at the end when he came up? I think he came up to you.
Yeah, nobody worried about him. He came to me, you know what I'm saying, on some disrespectful stuff. You know what I'm saying? The game over with. You still mad because I was locking you up? All right, go sleep on that. I ain't trying to hear that after the game.
So you vowed that he wouldn't get in your head. But you managed to get in his head, you think?
What you think? You tell me. You tell me. Anytime I lined up on him. Yeah, y'all go watch that. Y'all go watch that.
Oh my God, I wish you could see him.
Y'all tell me who got in who head.
Y'all tell me.
He came up to
Y'all
me
tell
after the
me.
game.
Oh my God.
Y'all tell me who got in who head. Yo,
Whatever happened to LeVar Ball?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Whatever happened to that fool?
He's still doing stuff. I know last I heard he was trying to start that league, like that junior league or whatever.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
But he might be doing it. I don't really know.
Doubt it.
Where are his other two kids playing right now? I know they're hooping, but I don't know what league they're in.
I don't know. I feel like a dumbass even typing in his name to Google.
He's working on it. He wants to get them all in the Lakers.
Yeah, I guess he's still.
I think that
ESPN
league, dude. I think that league started. LaMelo and LiAngelo Ball combined for 92 points, win first ever JBA championship.
JBA.
Yep, LeVar Ball's most ambitious business venture, the Junior Basketball Association, wrapped up its first annual season last night. I mean, that's pretty dope that he got it off the ground so quick. I don't know how much of a success it was, but dude, triple B's, man. Don't be hating.
I'm hating hard.
Never lost.
Let's see.
Never lost.
Junior Basketball Association. How many teams they got?
2. Angelo's on 1.
8
and
teams,
on
yo. 8 teams.
But he started somewhere. You got to start somewhere.
Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck wants
You're
to
a
watch
hater,
that?
dude.
Who the fuck wants to watch
You ain't no big baller, dude.
So what is the point of this? To take the place of college?
It's not to take the place. It's just to be another option.
Another option of college?
Not of college. Another option for kids that don't want to go to college but want to make it to the NBA and want to go hoop somewhere.
Okay, so for kids that aren't good enough to be in the NBA but don't want to go to college,
you can't go straight from high school to the NBA.
Right. You have
now,
to
hopefully that rule changes because I've always thought that rule was stupid.
Isn't it only a year?
Yeah. I've always thought that rule was stupid because to me it's a free country, it's a free world.
No, that rule
free
is
market.
stupid.
Like if you want to enter the draft, you can enter the fucking draft.
Even though I do like watching college basketball.
I do too. And I like when guys don't go straight to the pros, but if I was 12 years old and could be in the NBA, I should be able to be in the NBA.
No, I agree.
If they want to hire me.
I guess I don't understand though, like what, because
it's basically so you either if these kids don't want to go to college, they see their futures in basketball, so they don't see the point in going.
And this is a way for them to get paid.
Yes, they get and not have to go all the way overseas,
right?
And not have to go to school.
Gotcha.
I think it's a decent idea. I don't know if it'll ever be able to be big enough to succeed, but I don't mind the idea. Because I do think it's stupid. The thing that's going to kill him is if all of a sudden they change the rule and you can go straight from high school to the league.
Which they probably will.
But even then, maybe then these kids go play in that league then if they don't get drafted, because that's part of the reason why they made that rule in the first place, is to not have all these kids that have these dreams of the NBA and they go to the draft and they don't get drafted, or they get drafted in the second round and get cut. And
well, I guess that's the thing, is it's good because I think it'll force the NCAA to like reform some of the dumbass shit that they're doing as far as like that kind of stuff.
I don't know exactly how that works, but I know it's NCAA and NBA combined. Like I know they combine in that rule. It's not like one of them makes the rule and the other deals with it. The NBA even has a hand in like wanting the kids to go to college for a year.
Well, yeah, I know. But I guess why is that though?
To me, the only big reason I can think of is just the whole not wanting these kids to come out of high school with these big dreams and just basically throw it away if they really weren't ready.
But this JBA
and I think
wouldn't necessarily be.
And I think they had issues with that where kids, even if you got drafted out of high school and you were okay and you made a team and you played for 3 years and then fell out because you just weren't ready to.
Right.
Like that is a big thing. Like you're a kid and you're traveling all over the country getting paid a bunch of money. they either blow it or they make bad decisions or blah blah. But I don't think 1 year older and 1 year of college is really, especially if you're these top kids. When you go to college for a year, you're not thinking about, oh, I'm gonna really spend this year educating myself. You're like, I'm gonna ball for this year in college and do whatever I have to do to get to stay eligible, and then I'm off to the league.
Yeah, I guess I kind of see both sides, but the more I think about it, and the more I know that, like, dumbasses coming out of high school, like even how dumb I was coming out of high school, especially with money and shit, like, it is kind of, and I don't think that, like, you know, because a lot of people's arguments would be they need to take a money class or like blah blah blah. I don't think a class like does that for you.
It'd be better than one random year of college.
No, I know it would be better, but it's the same reason that, like,
maybe NBA teams need to literally like appoint someone on their personnel to like handle those situations. Although these kids have, you know,
yeah, but you can't do that.
Agents, I don't know.
It's a job. The NBA is a job. Yeah. Like it's literally. But that's what I'm saying is, it doesn't make any sense that for most jobs that you get, they're requiring some sort of like some experience, not even experience in your job, but just like some proof that you can actually do what you.
But that's what I'm saying. Anyone can not.
And yeah, these kids can play basketball, but they're not necessarily equipped with the life skills to deal with what comes along with that. But bro,
there's tons of jobs that, like, there's tons of people out there that never went to college and went and got a job.
Yeah, but what did that job require? Like going and working
money.
Yeah,
you
but
make a paycheck.
Not handling fame, not handling like all like.
But what is a year of college going to help you handle fame?
4 years of college would.
Well, that's not what they're doing. And I don't think they should have to do that either.
Maybe they should.
Because, dude, this day and age, like Jason Tatum last year, like, he's ready to ball. Like, he should be able to be in the NBA making millions of dollars because he is that good.
Yeah, okay, but if he's not equipped, it's tough because I get where the NBA comes from as far as like, we don't want these unequipped, like intellectually unequipped players coming into the NBA fucking up our teams. Not necessarily like not knowing how to play basketball, but
they also
fucking up the business.
They also don't want a reputation of getting these young kids in and then they ruin their lives because they go bankrupt or whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. That's all the NBA reputation.
This argument we're having right now, this discussion we're having right now, is exactly why the rule that they have is in place.
Yeah, but
because it covers them on the back. Like, we make you go to college.
I agree.
And if you choose to go overseas or whatever, that's your choice.
It's the safe rule. Yeah, I agree.
But I guess my thing is, okay, if you choose to go overseas or you choose to do something else with that year, that's your choice, and then you can declare for the draft. Okay, why can't it be their choice to go to college? I don't know. I guess college is a different experience because you are getting educated, and I mean, you are technically dealing with some fame because if you're that good and you're on a good team, you're famous in college.
Yeah, that's why I said it. But the bottom line is, to me, it's like, I don't know, because I can see, like, it's a free country. If you want to go get a job after high school, you should be able to go get the job. But you have to take it a step further in the NBA where it's like financial, fame. There's tons of other shit that goes into being in the NBA than just going to get a job at McDonald's or work on the farm fields or something like that. Like, it's not the same fucking thing.
No, but I don't think it's like so different in what you have to do that you shouldn't be allowed to do it. Like, there's probably plenty of stories that people don't go to college, they get a job, and they handle their money terribly, and they have shitty lives because they can't. Okay. Yeah. Same thing happens in the NBA. It's just another profession, dude. There's also tons of stories where these kids go to the pros, make a bunch of money, and are fucking rich and famous and have great lives.
Here's the thing, though, is I guess I just equate it to like just a regular like business that you would go get a job at after college or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, you have interviews, you have to have some sort of experience in order to get these jobs. And it's not just the fact of, can you do the job? They interview you on other things. What's your personality? How do you get along?
Teams do that before they draft players.
No, but what I'm saying is that it proves more so that you went to college, had these experiences.
But we talk so much about how, like, if you're just talking about personality and being able to, like, be around people or whatever, that's a different thing. But you and I talk about how we think it's stupid that for certain jobs you have to lay a piece of paper on the table. I graduated.
It is. It definitely
because
is.
if you can do the job and your employer likes you,
right,
you should be able to get that job.
No,
I'm saying the same thing with basketball. They talk to these kids before they draft them if they like them, and if they're dope players that can do the job, why should they not be drafted? They shouldn't have to put the piece of paper on the table that says, I got my year in college, I'm ready. Just like we don't think you should have to have the bachelor's degree slapped on the table in order to get a job if you can do it.
I guess how many times, though, does it happen that if a team sits down with a player and they're judging them for, like personality, maturity, like all of that type of stuff, that they wouldn't draft them because of that?
It happens all the time. Johnny Manziel. Like players like that. It was talked about with Lonzo Ball whether it would be worth having LeVar along because of all the stuff that comes along.
I
with
guess
that.
the better question is maybe you need to take a step back and be like, okay, in order to even enter the draft, is there an interview session there to even be considered to be in the association? Because I think that's what the NBA is worried about.
I think
it's not the teams.
It's up to the owners. I think it's
right, but. Do you see my point though? Is it's not up to the teams care less about that type of stuff. It's the NBA's appearance that they're caring about.
But the NBA is the owners. So if a team decides to draft a player, the owner knows, and there's 32 owners that are the league. So I don't know what you like. I don't know what you're talking about.
But aren't there
there's a commissioner who's hired and appointed and paid by the owners.
But there's got to be other people other than the owners.
I'm telling you, the owners
manage the association.
Yes, managers, but the owners run the league. So
the owners run the teams.
The owners run the league, like not day to day. Like if you have a manager at a restaurant, they manage the restaurant, but they can be fired and someone else can be hired and shit goes as usual. The owner is the one that determines if that thing runs and what happens. Like they have end-all be-all say. So
aren't these teams just franchises though? Like they're just...
Yes, but the owners have the power. So all I'm saying is if there was someone that shouldn't be in the association, period, then it's up to the owners to not hire them.
I guess, but is it the same? Because I might be totally off here, but could it be a little bit similar to like you have an owner of a McDonald's, a franchise, like they have multiple stores like all around the country. Mm-hmm. But McDonald's isn't owned by the owners of each franchise. They're owned by McDonald's.
Yeah, there's no, but as far as I know, there's no like, and I don't know this for a fact.
And I don't know either.
Do research, but as far as I know, an owner of a team can like sell his team, can do whatever, and there's probably something in the contract where maybe like you can't just there's hoops you'd have to jump through to like relocate your team to do different things.
No, but
like you can't just do what you want all willy-nilly. But I don't think there's some like NBA, like the NBA was founded by these owners. And they all have teams and they're the ones that run it.
The owners run it.
The only other big name in a league like the NBA or the NFL is and this is just, I'm just speaking from what I know. I'm not going to like stand by this 100% like I did some big research on it, but I feel like I know a fair amount.
No, I'm just comparing it to something that I know actually how it
I know
works.
For a fact the only other like big name you ever know about in a league or whatever is the commissioner.
Right.
Who is hired by the owners to run the league. But he is not more powerful than the owners. No, the owners can fire him at any set.
Right. I'm trying to just figure out how powerful the owners actually are as far as can you compare it to a typical franchise situation where you have owners and they do have say in what the company does, but they aren't the end all.
I would guess that if you had a majority of owners or whatever they put in their bylaws that to make anything happen, you have to have this amount of the 32 owners to vote. If they voted on anything, it would happen.
So
unless the players held out or whatever.
I guess where's the loyalty for the owners though? Is it to the team or is it to the association?
To the team.
See, and I guess that's what the problem is though.
But also to the association because they don't want what's good for the association is good for the team.
Obviously they don't want the association to fail, but there has to be certain things that are better for certain teams that aren't better for other teams and things like that.
Yeah, and that's why you take votes and need majorities and whatever like that.
Right. So I guess what I'm saying is these players haven't been drafted to a team yet. So, but they're putting their eligibility in for the NBA in general before they get drafted, correct?
Yeah.
So I guess where does the interest lie as far as like before any team picks him up or anything like that? There is no weeding out process to even decide if the player is like socially equipped enough to even be in the NBA.
No, but there's not really that for other jobs.
And then we just go back to the
you just go do an interview and if you're equipped and
no, I'm saying that you just go back to the argument of the NBA isn't like any other job.
Whatever, I win. We got so far down a rabbit hole there. What else? I heard final season of Thrones is quote unquote heartbreaking. Dude, I gotta get HBO. When's that coming out?
I don't know.
Find that out.
I don't know.
Find that out.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. What season is it? 8?
Just put like new season. Other than that, I should probably warn the listeners. Pretty soon, we're probably going to have a weekly, we won't like make it a real topic most times, but kind of how we touch on golf here and there throughout the summer. Throughout the fall, we are going to be touching on fantasy football.
Wow, we are.
I mean, it's
first half of 2019.
Okay. I mean, fantasy football is huge for me in the fall. I just can't imagine coming in and talking every week and not having mentions of fantasy football.
I'm going to talk so much shit.
But we're not going to be those douches that just talk about what happened to our team and complain about stuff. We're not going to put you through that. So I hope some of you guys play fantasy football because there will be mentions.
You know, why not?
This year I'm doing, so I have two leagues that I'm in. This year in one of my leagues, the league I've been in the longest, there's 14 of us. We're doing our first auction draft this year, and I'm interested to see how that goes. I can see the benefits of it because it kind of cuts out the noobs a little bit. Like you don't just get to pick the next person on your screen. You can't just have the computer pick your draft for you and end up with a decent team. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see how it goes. I don't really know what strategy to use. Do you like front load your team and blow your load at the front of the draft and get like 2 or 3 really dope players and then not have much money to spend or any money to spend? Or do you kind of like wait on it and then when everyone else is kind of low on money and the mid-tier players are available and you have all this money, you can get a bunch of mid-tier players? I don't really know what the strategy is there.
I wouldn't even know like where to begin with that.
That's what kind of sucks about it is I feel like some guys in the league have done auction drafts before and have a little bit of, they're going to have an advantage, I think. I think once we do it for a year or two, then I'll know like what other people's strategies are and how to work around them and whatnot. But going into it for the first time this year, I'm not really sure what to expect.
Yeah, I'd be pretty nervous about that one. Sounds like a whack move.
We'll see.
All right,
you got anything to talk about?
Let's take some voicemails.
Oh shit.
Hey, okay. So my name is Austin. I went to your show at Elk Club in Detroit with Futuristic. Anyways, I was the road guy. Anyways,
Oh, the road guy.
I was wondering if you would ever consider doing a fan meetup kind of thing, because I know you do one like after that show and stuff, but I just thought it would be cool to have like a fan meetup somewhere in Michigan. That's it. Thank you. Shout out to Moti.
I don't know, maybe. And now that we have our studio space, maybe we could do something like that, but
Who's the road guy?
Robe.
Oh, robe guy.
Remember the two guys in the front row that had the robes on? I remember them.
I was like, road guy.
What was I going to say? Oh, maybe could possibly do a fan meetup. Maybe we could incorporate that into something, but I'd probably rather just do a show and meet you guys that way, which one might be coming in Michigan soon.
Stay tuned.
Soon. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, guys? This
good.
one is, well, I mean, this question could be geared towards both of you, but so when you are currently like writing to a song or you're creating like the hook and all that, how do you get the what's your process of, you know, for instance, like an open, you start like with a verse and then at the end you start like a chorus or whatever. What stems from the chorus? Like, how do you get the chorus to, like, you know, how do you make a chorus
What?
like that? It's just someone trying to find out, like, get some insight about how your
Okay, I think I get what he's trying to say.
are made, and you know, it's my weakness would be a chorus when I'm writing a song, or like finding a melody, you know. I hope this question makes sense. All right, thank you.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Thanks for the question. So how do you come up with a chorus, basically? What's the process of writing and things like that? I go two different ways. One, and I think a lot of people I've talked to work this way, where they have a beat and they come up with a chorus first, which when thinking just logically through it, I think that makes the most sense, because a chorus is the most catchy part of your song. It's what grabs people, and it's also most of the times very basic. Like it's only a few phrases or something that kind of encapsulate the song. So once you get that, then you can go from there and branch into like specific stories and feelings in your verses. So I get that. Now, I do that sometimes. I'm not sure which one of these I do more often. I kind of maybe do them 50-50. So sometimes I'll do that, but other times I'll just have a beat and I'll just start writing from the top. And so normally that's starting with a verse. And that helps me just get out whatever's on my mind, rather than having right away to come up with something like catchy and say, this needs to grab people. I can just start writing what's on my mind. And all of a sudden I'll have a verse and it'll be somewhat cohesive, because I'm writing piece by piece and it's what's on my mind. And so it's not just like, you know, random ass thoughts. And then I can be like, oh, that's what I want to talk about. And then I can make a hook that rolls with that. So to me, those are the two ways I write. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I can't look back and be like, oh, all my songs that I did that way are bigger hits than the other way. I think it's just, and there's probably other ways that people do it, and whatever ends up working for you. But those are just two of the ways that have worked for me. And probably as far as if you're stuck, if that's a tough thing for you, I would say maybe start writing from the top. If you like writing verses better than hooks, just start writing from the top, write a verse, see what that verse is about. And then maybe you'll even just run into a hook.
If I remember right, when I was rapping, I'm pretty sure how I did it most of the time was I would hear a beat, and then that beat would like make me think about a specific topic or whatever, so I would know what I wanted the song to be about. But I would write the verses first, because that was my favorite part of it. And then I would just be able to then, with that topic in mind, be able to just create a hook to fill in the gaps or whatever.
And sometimes even if you're not good at doing choruses and you're not a singer or doing melodies, even you can just write the verses and flow into the hook, and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, those 2 lines could actually go into a hook.
Right.
And you just kind of have your hook when you just start writing.
Right.
So I wouldn't overthink it, especially in rap. You don't have to have some big melodic hook.
No.
Just start getting ideas out there, and I think you'll hit on something.
Hey, Packy. Hey, Moti. My name's Sterling. I'm from Palm Beach, California. And big fans of you guys. Love everything you do. And I love all the music you make. And because they say that you write what you know, are there any songs that you've made that you're the most passionate and inspired to make due to something that's happened in your life? Thanks, guys. Love all you do. Peace.
Thank you for the compliments. Thanks for being a fan and for the support. Appreciate the words. Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said though, it answers the question. You write what you know. So every song has a certain amount of meaning, obviously some more than others. And yeah, I think I've answered before, like some of the most, like My Foundation is one of the most meaningful songs to me. It's about my family, about my parents. And so, yeah, but all of my songs are life inspired. So they all mean something, whether it's something, you know, tugging on the heartstrings or whether it's out partying with my friends. It's all based off of, you know, my life and things that are happening in my life and inspired by life events and thoughts. So yeah, some more than others, but all in different ways.
Yeah, I think most of our projects are kind of encapsulating of what was happening in the times of our lives. Like our first mixtapes were very much so, had a college feel to them.
Mm-hmm.
And once we grew out of that, you know, we moved out west, the parlay,
very moving away from home.
Yep. Same difference was kind of liking where we were, but also missing home at the same time.
Well, and also like kind of, that was when we switched over from the Specktators duo
right
to the Specktators label. And there was like a transitional feel to it.
Yep.
And then Mad Lifey was a lot on the road and
yep.
touring and
yep.
things like that. So
yeah. I mean, if you listen closely, you can definitely see the themes to our lives from there. Last question.
Yo, this is Dylan from Boise, Idaho. This is a question for both you guys, but it's kind of aimed at MOT, trying to get a rant out of him. I think we're mad about this. What are you guys' thoughts on people using their phones at concerts or other events like that? Because personally, that pisses me off hell bad, because it's just stupid. But I want to see your guys' opinions on it. Love the podcast. Used cars is fire. I own a used car, so I relate to that shit. Keep it up.
Dope.
I mean,
he called you out. Go ahead.
I think it's my personal opinion on it is if you're paying for a ticket, why the fuck do you want to be recording on your phone the entire time? I get wanting to savor the moment and like relive it, but then just go to another concert. Like I don't really understand the whole I must record my artist and post it. I get it for the Instagram culture because you want to show your friends that you're having a fun time at your favorite artist.
Why the fuck do you think people go to shows, dude? It's not to go to shows. It's to show everyone you know that you went to the show.
But I don't like it. I don't like it.
I have no problem with it. To me, it's all about how often you are on your phone. If you go to a concert and you see an artist you love, whatever, I'm all about, if I went to see some artist I love, I would take some photos and some videos. I want to document that. Now, if it gets to a point where you are just staring at your phone, that's when it's a problem.
But I think that's kind of what pisses me off about it is I see like we're part of the generation where, okay, yeah, if you want to take a couple pictures and like record a 15-minute snippet of your artist playing your favorite song or whatever, fine. I can get over that. But the generations that come after us, it's this the entire time that you're on stage. Like they get the whole entire thing.
Yeah, I mean, Unless you're running a YouTube channel that posts live concerts, yeah, I don't see any point in that.
But even then, it's like...
Go experience. And this is coming from... I'm the biggest proponent of be in the moment. I hate when people are on their phones all the time, mainly texting. If you are documenting what you're doing in a tasteful way, not just on it all the time, that's fine. But if you're on your phone, like texting or whatever, just not paying attention, you paid money to go do something. Go enjoy it and be in the moment. So yeah, I'm the biggest proponent of that. I hate just looking around and seeing people looking down at their phones. But if I'm like on stage and I see people holding up their phones, filming, taking photos, I'm cool with that. Like, kind of like you said, you paid your money for your ticket. Why would you want to be in there on your own? I'm like, you paid your money for your ticket. If you want to document this, document it. You paid your money. Do what makes you happy.
It's like what I said. That's fine because I'm of the generation that understands that. But I'm just saying it's almost like a slope, and we're in the middle of it. It's like our parents aren't going to understand any of that stuff. We're in the middle of it where I can kind of understand the documentation of it all. But when you get down here, it's like, and you're just on it the entire time.
Yeah. No, I definitely, because I'm aware of it myself. I went to a little concert in the park they were doing by the Michigan Princess. They did a little outdoor concert on the river, and Glow and I went, and it was cool. It was and it just looked really cool. And I took a few pictures. I posted one on my story. It was cool, but we were there for like an hour and a half, and I spent less than 5 minutes taking photos and video, whatever, of what we were doing. Probably 2 minutes, including like posting it and all that. Okay. I see. I don't feel bad about that at all. But if I was on my phone for 20 minutes, it'd be like, okay, what the hell are you doing? You came out here to see this and to whatever, like, enjoy it.
I guess it just depends on what you paid your money to do. Like, did you pay your money to go take a video the entire time, or did you pay your money to have an experience?
Yeah.
Because I guess
some people did pay their money to take a video the entire time.
But that's what I'm saying, and I will just never.
But I still think that's whack.
I will never understand it.
Yeah, I think that's whack.
My thing.
I think that's whack. But if you have reasons for it, and sometimes people do. Like, as much as I think that's whack, I love when fans tweet at me 30 like a 1 minute video of some song I did on stage. I like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but
so how can I say, "Oh, that's dope," but then be like, "That's whack that you had your phone out"?
I'm mainly coming like from a fan perspective though, of being like, I will just never be of the generation that is like that will understand somebody wanting to.
Yeah, well, you're not. You're old, so.
Well, I know. That's what I'm saying, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
End pod.
Okay, we're ending.
Yeah. Nighttime riding, I can feel the breeze. My right hand man whipping, shorties in the backseat. Tell me what else do I need? Feel like I manifest everything I see. Lately, I've been on a roll, on the low. Been a broken record with like 4 shows in a row. Always end up saying shit like go with the flow. Swear I'm turning me into a man I don't even know. But these hoes will be hoes, seen it firsthand. Now I only run to give and go, I'm the worst man. I be over shit quick, I just hit the red.